Good evening and welcome to this special installment of Across the Arts. I am your host, Patrick D. McCoy. We are in store for a wonderful show as a new installment on the Spotlight series. For this special series, I will be talking to soprano NaGuanda Nobles about this special concert coming up entitled Henosis. A little bit about NaGuanda. Like most great singers, Miss Nobles began singing within the supportive walls of her home church. It was there where she discovered a love for singing and developed as a soloist under the direction of Mrs. Carolyn Henry. Although she was born in Tallahassee, Mrs. Nobles attended Thomasville High School, where she began her classical training. She accepted a full scholarship to attend the Florida State University and received her bachelor's and master of music degrees in voice performance. Throughout her years of college, Mrs. Nobles was a featured soloist with the Florida State University Singers, directed by Dr. Audrey J. Thomas. Mrs. Nobles has made her mark on stage as a recitalist and an opera performer with the Pittsburgh Opera, Atlanta Opera, Austin Lyric Opera, the Dayton Opera. Listen, I could go on about my Greek sister, but beyond just that, she is a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And at this time, she's going to walk us through this concert that brings together the excellence in classical music and opera through Black Greekdom. Please welcome soprano NaGuanda Nobles. Hi, how are you?
Hello, how are you? I am great.
I am so thankful for this opportunity. As we talked offline, before we started, this is so long overdue. And you saw how I just beamed when I met
Right.
Dr. Audrey J. Thomas because I met Dr. Thomas over 20 some years ago at an
Mhm.
American Choir Directors Association conference. So, I've been able to witness his artistry. And then not too long ago, you can correct me where you were, but I remember that I saw a video that he was accompanying you, and I think we're going to watch that video later on. But let's get right to why we're here.
All
Talk to
right.
me about Henosis, and I hope I'm saying that right.
You
And tell
are.
me about this theme of unity and why to pick that particular word to amplify your theme on unity, particularly in the Black Greek world and opera and classical music.
Well, thank you so much, Patrick, for having me. You're right. It is long overdue. I have admired your work from afar, and I am just so honored to be here to share, some information about one of my babies. You know how mamas are about their babies. They're proud. So I feel, the same way about this project. Henosis. Henosis is actually a fundraising concert for my nonprofit organization, the High Art Foundation. And the High Art Foundation, we provide scholarship to students who would like to pursue music careers. So our mission is to inspire, support, and elevate. So in addition to scholarships, we provide mentorship as well. So we have 4 students who we've just awarded these scholarships to, and I'm so proud of them already. And they're off now. I think they just left this last weekend. So I'm excited to see what all they're going to do. So the High Art Foundation is centered around, giving back to the students. I think it's very important, for me as a scholarship recipient to Florida State University to reach back and help others. But also, in addition to helping those others, I like to honor my mentors. So the scholarships each have a name of one of my special mentors in my life. We can't be anywhere without these mentors. They pour into us. And in my case, some of them poured into me and I didn't want pouring into, because I didn't want to be in music. So, and we probably get to that later too, but, so I think that's a good way to honor them. But henosis, I found, it's a Greek word for unity. And so I thought, I've been working on this foundation for a few years now. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to create a space for colleagues who are a member of the Greek, Divine Nine, to share our talents, because we can go hard behind the scene, who came first, what colors you're wearing, and. But, at the end of the day, it's Greek love, and we support each other, and, we respect each other. And I think what really sparked this in my head to do a concert for it was at the Kathleen Battle concert at the Metropolitan Opera. And we took the big Greek picture. That was amazing to me. And I still look at that picture and think, wow, there is so much talent and artistry in this one picture. And so I wanted to bring us together on stage. And that's what I'm doing with Henosis. And I'm just honored that these people have agreed to come and share with us. A part of our mentoring part of the program is we're going to do a symposium. So that's not being put out there as much because, we want just certain students to really come, and witness the artistry in person question and answer session. But the artists are coming and also participating in a symposium as well. So that's what Henosis is all about. We're live streaming. We talked about it, one of the good things about COVID, there are not many, but one of the good things about COVID is it has allowed us to expand our performance, boundaries. And so we are live streaming this concert in hopes that, people who are not in the Dallas area can witness, the performance as well.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that seems to be a connecting thread on mostly all of these interviews that I do. Because COVID, yes, it is devastating. It continues to be, but it has brought together people who normally wouldn't have had any kind of audience with one another. Like I said, I used to see you on Facebook posting and the videos and things like that,
Right.
but I don't want to say it's a shame, but we are just meeting now in this virtual space, and it's all because of COVID. So that is
Exactly.
a blessing. So I'm glad you mentioned that, and I'm thankful
Yeah.
for that. Now, as I hope I didn't steal your thunder when I introduce you, because you are a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and so yeah, yeah, have fun with it. So I do want to ask you or just bring up the point, as you know, each sorority and each fraternity all have like
Mhm.
a theme. Like of course, my brother's manly deeds, scholarship and love for all mankind. So
Right.
out of the tenets of your sorority, how do you reflect that in your artistry as a classical singer or on the opera stage?
Well, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is all about service to all mankind. And it's weird that when I created the foundation, of course, it wasn't tied to anything Greek, oriented. But as I look back now, as a representation of AKA, it's that's what it's all about. It's about providing some sort of community service and support to these young people. And so, yeah, it doesn't matter what gender you are, what race you are, we're trying to give back to these students. So, yeah, service to all mankind. That's what I stand on.
When you're always learning, and when the late Jesse Norman died, that's
Hmm.
where it really came out that she was if I'm not mistaken, an honorary member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So are there any
Hmm.
other of your sorors? It doesn't have to necessarily be classical music. It can be whatever you want to bring out that really resonate with you, that help you on your path, give you food for the journey, especially in this art form.
Well, if you want to start, excuse me, anywhere, you can start at our vice president. The one and only Kamala Harris is a member. So, she inspires us all. You have Maya Angelou, of course. Lynn Whitfield is one of my favorite actresses. Coretta Scott King, who was also, a singer as well. Felicia Rashad, who to me is one of the most classiest ladies, out there. So yeah, the list can continue, but yeah, those are some of my favorites, sorors.
Now, talk to the audience about what we will hear in terms of different styles. I know that a couple of our artists, our surprise guests, will get on and talk a little bit about what they're going to perform. But as it pertains to you, what are some of the
Right.
gems that you're going to offer on the program?
Well, some of our artists, of course, are doing other things tonight, so they can't join us. But the program is one that I hope to offer a variety of genre, not just for people who love the arts, but we of course want to introduce opera and classical and spiritual to others. So the concert will start with opera and some arias, and then we will go to classical pieces, and then we will end with spirituals, and the finale will be one that's very special to me. I love that piece, and that's actually going to be a surprise, so you have to tune in to see it and hear it. But we have Wagner, from Wagner to Hellstork to arranged spirituals. I have one off of my CD. So yeah, it's going to be a variety. I am singing. Should I tell them what I'm singing, or should I make them?
Look, make them go ahead and I pinned the website. Hopefully, if you go to your website, yeah, make them wait for it. But you basically,
Yeah, let's make them wait.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one that I reached back and got from my repertoire. I'm normally a Puccini girl, but this is something different. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Well, I think your other half is waiting, and I'm gonna bring him in.
Okay, so before he comes in, one of the let's talk about the scholarships. So the scholarships, I wanted to not just singers. So the scholarship applications were open to all types of musicians, and one of our scholarship recipients is a drummer. And so I'm proud of that. And I have a panel of colleagues who are helping me with this. It's not just me, because I don't know anything about drums, and so I've paired this guy up with a professional drummer. And so yeah, and he's played with some of the greats. But so on the concert, representing the fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity Incorporated, is Kirk Nobles, who's my husband, and he's also a jazz trumpeter. So I thought that was kind of nice to add him to the lineup, to get something different.
And I'm gonna bring him on.
Okay.
Let's see. There we go. And let me see, can I change his name here?
Nice.
Kirk, you can join us whenever you're ready. I might have brought him on too soon. Oh, there we go. Hey there, how you doing? Good to see you.
I'm here, good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm not gonna
Likewise,
hold those.
likewise.
Listen, I'm not gonna hold those colors against you, but it's all in
Hey.
love. So, Kirk,
Hey,
first
we're
of
not
all,
gonna start nothing.
I'm gonna leave it right there. So, Kirk, first
All right, that'll work.
all right. So, Kurt, thank you so much for being here. And I know you're so proud of your wife and this endeavor that she's spearheading and how she's bringing all of this Greek unity together through music. So, talk to me about your background, because I understand you are a jazz trumpeter.
Absolutely. So, we were brought together. Music kind of brought us together. NaGuanda moved to Austin. Well, I was living in Austin, playing as a musician. Of course, Austin's the live music capital of the world, and playing in a couple bands, a jazz band, an R&B band, and a cover band as well. So NaGuanda came into town, and we met. and this has been our thing going, ever since then. So I started playing, of course, in middle school, and always was a fan of jazz and all genres, but jazz really was my kind of the one that grabbed me, and just been enjoying playing. I work full time for Kyocera, but music is still my love, though.
You know, going back to NaGuanda, what tickled me, if you can see my southern roots coming out as well. When I was reading your
Right.
bio and you had mentioned the fact that you had performed with Wynton Marsalis, and I don't think at that time I connected that Kirk was a trumpet player. So of course my mind is going to Baroque duet and the trumpet and soprano. So my question is, have you all done like a project together with trumpet and soprano, or is it something you ever thought about?
You may be speaking some stuff into existence now. We've collaborated on, gospel and some spiritual stuff. But yeah, I have to pull him out of retirement sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She hired me to play on her debut album, The Harvest to the Journey, and the check it must be lost in the mail because I still haven't received it. But I was able to play on one track on there, actually a couple tracks, but one was the
Now,
what was the baby? That one
now,
Riverside. Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah. So we did an arrangement of that one and kind of jazzed up the album a little bit. So
yeah.
So, Kirk, you had mentioned the fact, and I hope I don't get myself in trouble. You mentioned the fact that you had a full-time job and you also, performed as a jazz musician. Now, a lot of times, when you're in opera and classical music, myself included, people sometimes don't view that as a full-time job. Naguana, have you ever had that kind of thing where somebody say, "Oh, well, you need another job to do this or support"? But I always tell people that you have to, you fund your passion. I don't care what anybody says. If you got a salary over here to support what you're doing, you
Right.
don't have to, explain that. Just support your passion. So,
Yeah.
Naguana, I do want to come back to you, and
Hmm.
before because I think hopefully some people are going to be joining us. I want to come back to you. When you first started singing, we talked about your mentors. When
Right.
you really got immersed in classical music and opera, what was the reception of your family?
Well, okay, so I started, of course, in church, and that was my upbringing. I had, been around the house imitating people like Denise Williams and Paul Beasley from Willie Neal and his singers, um, and so that's where I started. And there was a classically trained organist at my church, and that was my first introduction to something outside of gospel. I'd never heard of opera. I've never heard of classical music, but she would come off of the organ and she would sing, a Give Me Jesus or an occasional Ave Maria. And that was something different for me. And I think through some type of gospel singing, she heard me and realized, oh, this child needs some other kind of structure. And so she put me into show choir, without my knowing.
Oh,
And so that's where I learned O mio bambino caro and Alleluia and God's trying to tell you something. So it was a wide range of something that I'd never had an opportunity to witness before. So it was kind of new, but I think in high school it was just new for us all. And then by the time I got to college, my dad would call it hollering. Because he's Southern guy, and he's foot stomping that type gospel music. And so when I would be in the back, practicing, yeah, NaGuanda's back there hollering again, but because that's all he knew. But now it's amazing that everyone is so supportive, and we have some new fans of the arts, and so I'm just happy that I was able to do my part of it.
that's amazing. Kirk, thank you so much for joining us. We got some more guests waiting, but I just want to thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to tuning in to the concert. So I want to hear this jazz trumpet. I'm here.
Well, thank you.
All right, now. Well,
Yeah,
thank you.
well, I appreciate you having us on. Thanks for everything you're doing to help raise awareness for the event, and we're super excited, to present it on Sunday. So thank you again, and we won't hold your colors against you either.
Oh Lord, you had to get that in. Thank you so much. All right, now.
All right.
All right.
Yo.
That was fun. So
Yeah.
I want to continue this whole thing because we were talking about the classical singing where you first kind of you was in the church aspect. I think most of us have had that experience. I think
Right.
mostly all of the great singers had that church experience, the spirituals and the gospel and so forth. And then it was
Yes.
a transition. So I want to play you singing this concert arrangement of He's Got the Whole World in His Hands. And let me see here. If you all will bear with me. This is definitely a production, so I think we're almost there.
Okay.
He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 He's got the woods and the waters in his hands. He's got the woods and the waters in his hands. He's got the sun and the moonlight in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the birds and the bees right in his hands. He's got the birds and the bees right in his hands. He's got the beast of the field right in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got you and me right in his hands. He's got you and me right in his hands. He's got everybody in his hands. He's got the whole in his hands. He's got the
Brava.
Die heel beroemde gospel. He's got the whole world in his hands. Van de
Uh-oh. There we go. Now, very briefly before I bring Roderick in, could you
Yes.
talk about, first of all, Dr. Andre J. Thomas at that piano, beautiful. So such supportive playing, just excellent anyway,
Yes,
anything he does.
yes, yes.
But could you just talk about a little bit briefly, what was the setting and what was the occasion for that performance?
That performance was in the Netherlands. So another one of my mentors is Dr. Andre Thomas. I think I got up until my high school, but the high school teacher sent me to Florida State University the summer of my leading up to my junior year. And so I would participate in their summer music camp. And Dr. Andre Thomas is one of the ones who heard me because I had to, submit something, and pulled me to the side and asked me about pursuing music, voice performance. He's like, I can get you a scholarship. So I was like, I don't want to do music. I want to do interior designing. So I went back to school and went back that next summer. And he said, okay, the scholarship is here. And so I took him on, for that scholarship. And that's how I got to Florida State University, on that scholarship because of Dr. Andre Thomas. And even my graduation of my undergrad degree, he took us on a trip to Vietnam, and I was one of the soloists for that tour. And, and so he's been calling me ever since, and I am grateful for him. I've always told him if it wasn't for Andre Thomas, NaGuanda Nobles would not know, this music as it is now. So I'm very thankful. So we've been, to the Netherlands, we've been to Vietnam, we've been to Berlin, we've been, some of everywhere, and I'm just always honored when he calls.
I know we're going to mention this again towards the end, but just so people can take note, could you mention how can they access the ticket information and the actual date and day of the concert?
So Henosis is happening this Sunday on August 22nd at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And it's in Richardson, Texas. So if you're in the Dallas area, please come out and support us. We'd love to see you. Of course, we want to see your eyes because we hope that you're wearing a mask. But, smile at us with your eyes and we'll smile back. But so if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, please come out and support us. If you're not in the Dallas area, we are live streaming, and both of those tickets can be purchased via the Eisman Center's website. And that's just Eisman, EISEMANN Center. You can also find that on my website, NaGuandaNobles.com. And I think that's it. If we're Facebook friends, I've been pumping it up. So it's on the flyer. So yeah, and the QR code actually takes you, if I'm not mistaken, to purchase tickets.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce Roderick. I'm going to bring him in and I'll start talking. Let's see here. Tenor Roderick George made his New York Lincoln Center debut as a soloist in Handel's Messiah at David Geffen Hall. Frequently in demand as a soloist in major concert and oratorio works, his recent engagements have included Adolphus Hailstork's I Will Lift Up Mine Eyes with the Nashville Symphony, Messiah, Beethoven's Knife with the Alabama Symphony Orchestra, the Mozart Requiem with the Northwest Florida Symphony Orchestra, Carmina Burana with the Huntsville Symphony Orchestra, and numerous organizations. Too much to name. But I want to say that Roderick is also my beloved fraternity brother, Dr. Roderick George. All right, I appreciate that. And so he's a champion of American art song and has done a lot of research in this area. I could go on and on and on, but please help me welcome Dr. Roderick George, tenor. Hey, brother.
Hello. It's good to see you.
Oh my goodness. When I read the line about art song, I think that's the very first time that we met in
It is.
person at the
Hmm.
University of California at Irvine at the African American Art Song Alliance conference.
You are right.
This is like amazing. So we all these years later we have to, see each other on a Zoom, but hopefully we can
Yes.
rectify that.
I got a little nervous, when they all popped up because I'm used to being on Zoom meetings all the time. So this is a nice change from that. It is good to see the High Art Diva. I think
Hello.
I remember when that first started, the High Art Diva, when we were in Dayton at Dayton Opera.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
director started calling you the High Art Diva.
And it stuck. And I was like, hey, well, let me just, but at the Gary Briggle, yeah. So the High Art Diva started, from a stage director. We were doing a production, Porgy and Bess. And so some of the things that he was saying is, when you step into the room, you should be professional at all times, and singing to a certain level. And so tying that into the foundation is what we expect for our, recipients. We want our students to be their best. Will you feel your best? No, but you can give your best, whatever day that is, and so that's why the High Art Foundation has its name, because we expect that from our students.
So Roderick, when NaGuanda came to you to bring you into the fold of this wonderful celebration of Black Greekdom and classical music and opera, what was your initial thought? Because if you remember, it's so funny, it's full circle, because you know how you're thinking about something, but you don't actually do it. I did a montage of all alphas that I knew in
Yeah.
classical music and opera, and I posted them on Facebook. But
Mhm.
I love the fact you took it to the whole next level. So I know that, Kevin Short, he's gonna represent Omega Psi Phi. And we just heard from your husband Kappa Alpha Psi. And we gotta get some more folks in these other organizations, because I know it's some more. I know it ain't just alphas and AKAs. But
Right.
so Roderick, so tell me about, because I don't want to steal the thunder, but I know you have probably a major, being a tenor, there's a major pinnacle who you kind of aligned to.
Of course, George Shirley. Of course, the alpha of all alphas.
Mhm.
But yes, when NaGuanda reached out to me about this, I think it was 2 years ago, because this was supposed to happen last year. So,
But
and again,
but COVID.
but COVID. So,
Yeah.
my immediate response is yes, I want to be a part of it, because it's, we sometimes separate, the whole Greek thing from classical music. And, we don't often bring attention to that we have that as a part of us. And so I thought it was just such a unique idea. I don't think anyone's ever done this before. So I just thought it was really cool, to be a part of this. And, I always run into, other alphas, who sing, but we never think about putting something together that's really going to highlight those who are part of or had the experience of being a part of a fraternity or sorority.
I think the first time I really witnessed, of course, beyond Mrs. Shirley, but I think one of my first Alpha conventions, that's when I first witnessed this brother with these long braids down his back, and that was Jermaine Smith. And I
Yes.
was just like, oh my goodness, this brother can sing. So I want to highlight another moment from you, Roger, because I mentioned about California when I first really connected with you on the concert. Well, I shouldn't say the concert, but the clip that you sent me, of course, is
Mhm.
from the great composer
Adolphus
Adolphus
Hailstork.
Hailstork. Thank you. So before I play this clip, could you talk a little bit about this piece that you're going to perform, first of all? And if I'm not mistaken, hasn't Dr. Hailstork written pieces for you?
Well, I had the honor of premiering 5 songs. There are 5 romantic love songs for tenor on text of Paul Lawrence Dunbar, which goes right along with my research, which is on art songs on text of Paul Lawrence Dunbar and Langston Hughes. And so I met Adolphus some years ago, and I was saying that I was doing research and I'd come across these songs. And he said, oh, well, I've created a version of those songs, I'll send them to you. And so he sent them to me, and then I was able to premiere them at the Art Song Alliance conference. There are wonderful songs. I think the one I sent for you is the second song in the set. I'm going to sing the first one on the concert on Sunday. And so it's Invitation to Love, and it's a text by Paul Lawrence Dunbar.
Okay, I'm going to play that now.
Come when the nights are bright with stars, or when the moon is mellow. Come when the sun is golden bars, drops on the hayfield yellow. Come in the twilight soft and gray. Come in the night, or come in the day. Come, oh love, whenever you may, and you are welcome. You are welcome. You are sweet, O love. You are soft as the nesting dove. Come to my heart and bring it rest as the bird flies home to its welcome nest. Come when my heart is full of grief, or when my heart is merry. Come with the falling of the leaf, or with the reddening cherry. Come in the year's first blossom blows. Come when the summer gleams and glows. Come with the winter's drifting snows, and you are welcome. You are welcome, welcome. And you are welcome.
Just exquisite. My goodness.
Thank you.
Oh my word. You are welcome. And that's just all about unity and bringing us all together. When you kept saying, you are welcome, I was about to jump. I said, is this a church song? Lord. But Roderick, I want to come back to you, and then I'll toss it back to NaGuanda as we provide some of the other information about the concert. But of course, you're a college professor of voice at the University of Montevallo. Talk to me about how you had to adjust with COVID. I know people say that COVID is over, but we know
Mhm,
it's not over. So talk a little bit about your process doing this teaching.
mhm. Well, initially we had to jump right into virtual land. And so learning, the technology and, being able to teach lessons via Zoom or, whatever, format. And so it's been a learning process. Uh, some good things have come out of it because being online teaching and having students online, it requires a bit more focus than sometimes you can get in the studio because you're looking directly at them and they're having to look directly at you. So it has, raised the level of focus for some of my students. Um, and there's some other online programs that we've started to use as a result of COVID. So has it been all negative? In person, having to teach some with mask on has been challenging. So I'm a little nervous about the start of this new semester, or, since things are kind of taking a turn, whether we're going to be back to where we were last year, when things were starting to look, like more promising, but, we're sort of taking a turn back to where we were before. So.
Yeah, it's definitely definitely a situation we have, and of course, some of you know I've been teaching virtually as well. So to go back into class, somebody you're wearing a mask and
Mhm,
trying to teach applied students and worried
mhm,
about whether someone is fully vaccinated or not, or whether they've had COVID tests. It's a
mhm,
lot to contend with. So,
mhm,
NaGuanda, I want to toss it back to you because I know a lot of people are trying to figure out how they can tune into this concert. I know we mentioned it before, but I want to mention it ad nauseum. So, it's no excuse that you don't know how to
No,
get to it and all that. So from top to bottom, go ahead and let me know, or and the audience know rather, about Henosis and how they can access the concert.
so Henosis is happening at the Eisman Center in Richardson, Texas. So both tickets, whether you want to be there in person with your mask on or virtually, that both of those tickets can be accessed through that website. The tickets are only $20, and I say only because we going by Starbucks for almost 10. And you're getting the artistry of these singers that you wouldn't normally get on one stage. So I am very so let me just finish this and then I'll talk about Roderick. But so yes, so Eisman Center website, we should be the first ones there because the concert is happening this weekend, and it's called Henosis, and it's benefiting the High Art Foundation. So each ticket that you purchase will help us help students, on their musical journey. So it's a nonprofit organization. So you're getting something, but you're also giving something as well to younger students. So now I just want to go back to what Roderick said when I called on him, and he is absolutely right. He said, yes, I'll be there. And so did the others. And to me, when you talk about a Greek family, you talk about just unity in the arts. And so when I presented this vision to them, they did not hesitate. Even, COVID paused us for a little bit. I came back and said, hey guys, and they's like, hey, we're there. So I just, want to publicly thank Roderick and, LaToya and Andy and, Kevin and Kirk and, and Audra, and I don't want to start calling names, but thank all of the artists who just so graciously said yes. That means a lot to me, and I'm honored to have them this weekend.
Not to put you on the spot, but could you mention a little bit about the keyboard artists? Because I think I saw that you had some extraordinary keyboard artists who are performing as well.
Yes, 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 yes. So, God works in mysterious ways, and I thought I had a plan and he had another one. So we have three of Dallas's best accompanist, coming to Henosis with us. John Tatum has traveled all over this world and still traveling all over this world, playing with some amazing people and amazing artists. Another one is Dr. Clark Joseph, who I did not know. Yes. I'm like, what is this, Alpha Land? But so, he'll be joining us on the spirituals. Cornell Gaskin will be accompanying Miss Audra Scott on one of her pieces. So yes, so Dallas, come and support your own, and these are amazing men and artists as well.
I want to come back to you, Roderick, because I want to ask the same sort of question that I asked NaGuanda in the beginning. And of course, I know you're going to expound on this. Each fraternity and sorority, they have tenets that they follow. Of course, we're manly deeds, scholarship, and love for all mankind. How have you resonated those virtues in your career? How have you've experienced those in your career as an opera singer, and in classical music in general?
Yeah, I think being a person of character and integrity at all times. You never know who's watching you, and always to be your very best in any situation. And working in academia for now about 20 years, of course, I see myself as a scholar, so the scholarship is there. And then always trying to uplift others. And that can be done in many ways, even with my students on a daily basis, although being demanding of them, but still trying to be uplifting and encouraging to them. So it is always manly deeds, scholarship, and love for all mankind that's, drilled into us during the process. And so when I was choosing a fraternity, it was all the things that I saw myself being already. So it wasn't a huge leap to say, okay, I have to become this, I am already these things, I'm already doing these things. So, and it just continues throughout my life.
That last part is important. You already brought all these things to the table.
Mm-hmm.
That the fraternity and sorority, they basically amplify what you already have. So
Mm-hmm.
if there's anybody out here who have an interest in these organizations, that's something to consider. I'm glad you said that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just be quiet. But anyway,
That's another discussion.
That's another discussion.
Yes.
I want to verify with you, NaGuanda. Is Audra coming on?
She is, I think, stuck in traffic. She sent me a note.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
Audra's our other artist, and Kevin Short, of course, represent Omega Psi Phi, and I want to tell my quick little Greek story, and I think Roger could like it because he's a tenor. The first time I heard Lawrence Brownlee recital, probably like 11 years ago, and I had a chance. Some odd way, I ended up having dinner with him as accompanist, his whole entourage, and that's when it came out that he was a Kappa. So we took this picture of him holding up the Kappa side and me holding up the Alpha side, and we always joke about him being a Kappa and me being an Alpha, but he kind of gives me a hard time. But and of course Morris Robinson, I know he's out of the concert, but that's another great man of Omega Psi Phi. We always have a little tongue in cheek. But I am so excited about this concert, NaGuanda. Congratulations, this brainchild of yours bringing Black Greekdom together, this excellence in classical music and opera. I believe it's probably something that we've never seen. And,
Right.
and it's never seen because you're doing it virtually and you're doing it in person. So you're giving us a double whammy of a premiere of excellence with Black Greekdom and opera and classical music. And I'm excited. I can't
Yes.
be there, but I'll try to get my ticket and be supportive. But I usually don't do this on Across the Arts, but I want to get some shout out because y'all got some people supporting you. Kenny Overton.
Kenny!
He says, hey, sis NaGuanda.
I love me some Kenny Overton.
Robert McRae. Just bought my ticket. All right now. Thank you, Rebrat.
Thank you.
Samuel Ray, thank you. Sherry Hunt, Ashley Pettis. Let's see. I hope I ain't missing nobody calling names. Brian Cole, Gary Holly, Kim, Delmore. And I think that's the gist of the people who are on. But I just want to thank you both for joining me. Henosis is this weekend. And as soon as we get off of this presentation of Across the Arts, we're all going to just flood Facebook with the flyer and how you all can join. NaGuanda, thank you all so much.
Thank
Roger,
you.
thank you so much. You hold for a second.
you.
And I'm gonna give our closure spiel. Again, this has been Across the Arts, the Spotlight series, and I've been chatting with NaGuanda Nobles, soprano, and Roderick George, tenor, about Henosis. Make sure you stay tuned so you can tune in to this wonderful concert. And Across the Arts returns at our regular scheduled time this Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time as I welcome the legendary tenor Vincent Cole as a part of the I2 Sing America series. Again, I'm your host, Patrick D. McCoy, and thank you so